sometimes I did the same. Welcome to the show, everybody. That's how we started. Hell yeah.
That's a good start. I'll take that start.
Hell yeah, that's a great start. It's going to sound really weird over the yahos of our intro song now, but I think Kendrick would appreciate it. I think he would appreciate our playful flip of possibly the greatest piece of writing of the 21st century. Anyway,
welcome to the show. Good ear for music, you know?
I try. All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a fun one this week. We're doing our first throwback deep dive, and this was a treat.
Might be shocking to you guys. Never heard of this or never heard the album.
I've never heard the album all the way through before. Yeah. I've heard other Snoop Dogg albums all the way through before, but never Doggystyle.
We have a first. This is an album that I am somewhat familiar with.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I listened to this in high school.
Oh, really? Well, spoiler alert, it's a good album.
It is, yeah.
Spoiler alert, good album.
We'll get there.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot to get through this week. So, Purvis, you want to run down the 3 albums coming out?
Yes, of course. Starting out with the albums, all very, very exciting. I mentioned this last week, but I think this is going to be my R&B album of the year. Daniel Caesar is coming out with Never Enough.
Oh, my God. Nothing makes me want Frank Ocean to drop more than to make sure Daniel Caesar is not.
I understand.
I just think he just seems kind of like a lame to me.
He does have his moments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who I would crown the current king of R&B, as random as that sounds.
I think it's pretty obvious.
There's a whole
I know who.
My bias is very strong, but
I mean, who then?
I think it's obviously The Weeknd.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he completely changed the sound of R&B. He's like one of the highest charting artists at the time. I think Blinding Lights.
Okay with that.
Yeah, I think he's clearly the king of R&B. Yeah, his stuff is a little bit more pop now, but
that's that alternative R&B, right?
Well, it used to be hella alternative. It used to be haunted strip club music, and I miss it so.
That's what I wanted when all the new stuff is.
Yeah, you didn't like the house music Dawn FM because you're like, where are the haunted hoes?
I wanted to be in my dark space.
It's a different kind of dark space.
It is. It's a Las Vegas, very bright lights kind of dark space.
Yeah.
Dark depression.
So Daniel Caesar, Never Enough. Would you say that's your flagship for the week, the big thing coming out? Because it looks like there's a lot, yeah.
For me personally, that's what I'm most excited for. We have the return of, and I always pronounce it incorrectly. How do you pronounce the last name?
Ray Shremmond?
I just say Ray Shrem because that's the way they say it.
Fair enough. Yeah, Ray Shrem is back with Shrem Life 4. It's been a long time.
2019?
I honestly couldn't tell you that. It's pre.
Was Powerglide 2019?
Last thing I remember from them is Black Beetle stuff.
Yeah, that
was before. That was 2016. Let's see.
Wow, a very different life we were living.
Different life.
Okay,
changes so fast.
Their third album was 2018.
Okay.
So that was Powerglide and a bunch of other stuff. My Spotify is acting up right now. Why won't you load?
Oh my God, mine too. Actually.
Did Spotify crash while we're trying to do the?
I'm good now. I just wanted to get the track list for Doggystyle up.
Yeah, I restarted it just for that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. So Powerglide. What else is on here? Heartbreak, Touchscreen. Yeah, a bunch of stuff that's less popular but still bangers. IMO is on SREM, spelled with a 3 because it's the third album, and that was 2018, so it's been a bit.
I mean, I would agree. I do remember listening to this album a couple times. I do enjoy it. I just feel like 2018 had Astroworld and Swimming, and it just it got lost for me.
2018 was a big year. Not to mention Kids See Ghosts.
All of those albums.
Yeah.
Daytona.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Taboo.
About to say,
it was a hell of a year.
But yeah, they're back.
Hell yeah.
Super excited for it.
Yeah.
Should be the big energy. Should get some summer anthems. Preparing for that. We're only a month away.
Yeah, it's April.
Yeah, we're getting there. We have the last one is Champagne for Breakfast. This is Mad Lib working with the Mayhem Lauren and DJ Bugs. A lot more action for Mad Lib recently. We first got the confirmation of Mac Miller. Now we have an album coming out. So I'm really excited for that. It's one of the legendary producers, I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah, no.
So you can always expect good things.
I'll listen to Madlib every time. I actually was kind of bored with the one that came out last week.
Which one?
The one that had that Big Sean song on it. Yeah.
I liked it. I liked the big.
I like
Like I
that
said
song.
before.
I like that
Yeah,
specific
I like the
song. But I thought the album itself was cool, but like a little boring.
I get that.
So, but it's Madlib. I'll take anything I can get.
I'll visit eventually.
Yeah.
Moving on to the singles, we have a very wide range of singles.
Yeah.
The first one released today, or
Was
in
announced.
terms of the announcement, was today. Drake is coming out with a single called "Search and Rescue." I have no expectations.
I have
for
no
it.
idea what this is. Is it for sure a single?
That's what everyone is saying online. Now he didn't say that, but
Okay.
yeah, I take what I can get, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is, but just super random for me considering the tour is coming up. But some other singles that are coming
No.
out, which second one is honestly I'm more excited about.
Oh yeah.
K Chandra is working with Amine now. They're coming out with the song "Forever," featuring Pharrell Williams, which is an insane lineup.
Yeah. No, that's stellar.
I think that's leading up to a collab album that
Yeah.
was released last week as well. We also have Joey Badass coming out with "Fallen."
That's interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
because this is new. This is not from 2000.
yeah. I was about to say this. I feel like it's been long enough since his album where you just kind of he might be working towards the next one, maybe alluding towards the next one. I'm not too sure.
Bring it on.
You know, I used to feel so devastated, and then I found out Joey Badass has new music coming out.
I'm gonna destroy you. That is my springtime album.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a banger.
All American Badass is one of the best rap albums of that decade.
It's better than Kid Rock's American Badass, that's for sure.
I got no
Where's the
temptation, my
part?
lord.
Oh, don't do it to him.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So good. So good.
Moving on.
Okay, yeah, this one I want to stop and talk about. Lil Yachty dropping Strike.
Yes.
What is going on with Lil Yachty? How many hands does he have? Because he's putting out so much different stuff. He produced Her Loss, which is just crazy in and of itself, because that's just not a sound I took Lil Yachty for.
Coming out, yeah.
He dropped the greatest rap song ever named after a European country. And then song, not album. There's nothing great about Britain.
Yeah.
But then he dropped a rock album, which I have still not listened to. I'm sorry.
You should listen to it.
Not all the way through.
I hear it's good.
More
But I probably will. And then what is this?
I honestly have no idea.
The artwork is insane.
Yeah, the art. Yeah, the imagery is striking.
I feel like it's going to be his older style, so now I'm just really confused.
Yeah.
As much as what was going on with him, he went as far as to say that like anything before the album he just dropped out or he just dropped was like is null. Apparently, like it doesn't matter to him anymore. So
yeah,
is he going to expand further on this psychedelic rock album, or was that all just a lie?
Just because he's turning a new leaf does not necessarily mean everything is going to be rock music. I doubt it, especially because like I don't know. Was the reception to that overwhelmingly good? I remember hearing a lot of people thinking it was cool, but
it was middling.
Yeah,
it was like right down the middle.
At least from what I gathered, like looking online, it was nothing that anybody like anticipated. Like, there's no way anyone saw that coming.
Yeah.
Like, I think the shock value is ultimately like what throws you off. But then you actually listen to it and it's like, for what it is and what he's trying to make, it's done very well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
it was amazing.
I think the disconnect lies in like For people who listen to rap and know Lil Yachty for his rap career, this is like an excellent like prog rock album, basically.
Yeah.
But if you're already familiar with the genre, it's not anything groundbreaking that hasn't been done in the space before. And I think that's kind of the disconnect when it comes to like reviewers and people who are going over this who are able to appreciate both perspectives because they are not seeing it as like this big change the way that Yachty fans and rap fans are because they have more context for it.
I was gonna say they're lacking the background story of Lil Yachty.
That's basically it. Is that like, you know, when you don't have a whole lot of education on the history of the genre, you know, you're going to be easily impressed. That's something that still happens to me, where it's like, you know, I've listened to types of music I'm not familiar with, and I'm like, this shit's great. Like, like I haven't listened to like metal that has been released since 2004, and I still think Metallica's great. Like, anyway, so next we have greatest lyricist of all time, NBA YoungBoy, featuring Nicki Minaj.
Yeah,
WTF?
WTF? I don't understand.
This man's just always cooking.
Yeah, he lives in the studio.
Dude, he does not do anything else but make music.
Interesting enough, and I know we talked about it before, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Should there be a such thing as retirement? Because I feel like at this point she's just not really involved at all.
Who?
Nicki Minaj. I feel like she.
Oh, she retired?
An actual project. I'm saying, should she?
I mean,
like, should she still be doing these singles?
I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't force people to like make a decision on their career. You know, if you have the money, you just want to fuck around and do the singles that interest you, go right ahead.
Go for it. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a bummer because I feel like Nicki Minaj, she's very, very good. I don't think she has her classic yet.
Mm-hmm.
And a classic I think she is capable of making. So it's very annoying that this is all she does. Because, you know, I think she has a classic album inside of her and it's not out yet.
Hasn't came out yet.
Yes.
I don't know about an album, but I feel like she definitely has classic songs.
She definitely has. Oh, she definitely has classic songs, 100%. But
yeah,
I think Nicki Minaj is, you know, a pretty talented rapper. So
she goes down as one of the
best female rappers ever, you know. And it's so crazy because, like, there's this weird thing that I think happens with a lot of rappers who exist outside the mainstream in whatever way that could be, whether they're a woman, whether they're just soft. Like, you see people just immediately hate, like, as it starts. And then once they've been around for like 5-6 years and then their influence like breeds the next generation, it's like, man, they're nothing compared to Nicki Minaj. It's like, you were making fun of her. You never respected her music. You don't get to go around and, you know, use Nicki Minaj to put down Cardi B if you never gave her respect to begin with.
Similarly, if you tolerated Katy Perry but drew the line at Nicki Minaj, it's not a genre issue. It's more than that. And I know a lot of people like that. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think there is something critical to be said about the fact that like Nicki Minaj put out a lot of albums that were just pop. I think they were good pop. You know, I think like that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I don't think it fell within the genre. You know, Super Bass is not a hip hop song. What is this?
Joyner Lucas featuring Future?
Yeah.
Not the Future feature.
No, it's just like those are two artists I never thought would play nice. Not like socially, like
I don't know.
Creative.
I could kind of see it low key.
Just because like
I know nothing about Joyner Lucas.
Joyner Lucas isn't good. First off, he has made one good song. like
he's appeared on at least one good song too as a feature. But.
Yeah, I like the song he made dedicated to Will Smith a lot. But
I know that song, and I know the song that like the music video was a white guy saying.
Oh, the "I'm Not Racist" song. It was just.
No, we don't talk about that.
That was a very corny song.
Wait, is that the Tom McDonald one?
No, Joyner Lucas made that.
Oh, because there's a Tom McDonald song called "I'm Not Racist."
Yeah, I know. But
fuck that guy.
Joyner Lucas is not that bad, but it's cringy.
Yeah.
It is not good.
I like Lucky You. I think that's a solid song with him on it.
Okay, I'll have to give that a listen to because I don't think I've heard that. But
It's an Eminem song.
Yeah, I feel like Joy Near comes very much from the Eminem, Slim Shady, like lyrical miracle camp. I feel
like sorry, go ahead.
And I feel like Future is just the flag bearer for the exact opposite kind of music, right? So it's not that like, so one, like, I like Future. I think Future makes good music, but he's not someone I particularly love.
Mm-hmm.
And Joy Near Lucas, he has the capability to make good songs, but like,
does he?
Not a big fan. Like,
I could see it's like him doing verses and then Future's doing like the chorus. Or something.
Very clearly, obviously, what's going to happen.
That could work, yeah.
But I wonder if this is going to be like weird, or is this going to be like a pivot point? Like, is this where Joy Near Lucas starts maybe going for a more accessible, mainstream, and well-written sounds? Like,
a better sound overall.
Well composed, let me say.
Yes.
I
mean, I'm not against it.
Yeah, no, like I don't have the hate in my heart for Joy Near Lucas I have for some rappers, but this seems weird. This seems like it needs an emulsifier. That was that's a cooking joke. If you know what an emulsifier does, that was very funny.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was as good as Feeling That So Devastated, but it was.
I will turn this podcast around, mister. Like,
anyway, to something we can all appreciate.
Yeah.
Wiz Khalifa is going on tour soon. He released 2 singles in a pack called Peace and Love. This is someone that shouldn't ever retire.
Yeah, no, I love Wiz
My
Khalifa.
expectations are very set for Wiz Khalifa.
Don't get me wrong, like, he has albums that are kind of boring. He had that one song that was so overplayed. It's not a bad song, the one from the Fast and Furious one.
Yep.
Not a bad song by any stretch.
Is that the See You Again?
See You Again, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a bad song, but overdone. Never need to hear that ever again.
Hate it now.
But man, those early albums. Rolling Papers,
Yep.
So good. I still listen to Black and Yellow all the time.
That's actually a really good song.
Dude, it's so good. That entire album holds up. As a matter of fact, I got to do something really quick.
I go back to his Eric Andre interview a lot.
Yeah.
That shit is hilarious.
That's
one where he tells a story with the nightmare.
So good. All right. So, Purvis, you want to announce the news?
Yes. There's not a ton of news today, so we're just gonna point out some things that we're working on or we're participating in. Just so happened Don Toliver is going on tour now.
I'm gonna be
and
so
we
tired.
bought tickets immediately.
I'm gonna be so tired. I am excited to see this because I don't know if you remember, but I saw him last year at Lollapalooza.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't great.
Right.
But it was the only bad set I ever saw that made me like the artist more because he was trying. He was plagued by technical difficulties, and he was just gassed by the end of it. So he was out there. He was giving it his all. He was 100% like trying his hardest to give everyone the best show he can. So I want to see that improvement.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm rooting for the guy. So I'm very happy that we're going to be going to see this. So yeah, that's my big thing. And Absol.
I am going to wear a capybara shirt with a capybara on it to Don Toliver.
That's scary.
Yeah. I'm gonna
pull up.
Okay, I'll pull up.
Yep, exactly.
I'm gonna put Robitussin in a water bottle for that concert.
This should be a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah, this should be a lot of fun.
Excited.
And then we're seeing Absol.
Yeah, and then Absol as well. Jasper, are you coming to Absol?
I didn't buy a ticket, but
Okay.
if I'm peer pressured, I could. I just don't know any.
It is
know 'em at all.
fair warning. It is cheap enough that is a very easy peer pressure. Everyone
All right.
knows
$25.
$25.
Purvis, put it on my tab. I get paid tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be buying the tickets tomorrow.
It's $25 is that perfect like Yeah, I guess.
Like, how can I not do it? Come
Yeah,
on.
like, it's like this
Yeah.
is lunch. Literally, I went to Cane's yesterday for me and Rachel, and
Yeah.
almost double that. Like,
Yep.
Damn.
Especially living downtown.
yeah.
It's a great way to justify it.
Oh my god.
Some
yeah.
other things that you will be spending money on soon.
I hate this. Because it's dropping on 420, and I'm gonna have money. I'm gonna be.
I will be going for these for
Yes.
you.
Same.
I'll have the money.
guy that has
I'll
bots.
I'll have the money. I'll be able to buy these. Run the Jewels. They're dropping the SB collabs.
It's finally here. This was rumored like last year.
Yeah.
Yep. We had
Yeah.
mock-ups last year. There are official pictures. There's a high and a low Nike SB Dunk. Run the Jewels. One is black and pink. The other is what? Blue and
Gold.
whitish?
Yeah.
Gold and white, yeah. And the
Run
high
Jewels
pair,
3 and 4.
the high pair has the icons on
Yeah.
the laces.
I like the high pair a lot. I like both of them. I think both are really nice, but I like the high pair a lot.
So the high pair is releasing on Nike sneakers for sure. It's already listed. I don't know if the low pair is. I'm wondering if maybe it's like a skate shop exclusive because it is an SB collab.
Yeah.
That is possible.
But the high pair, I think personally is the
I'm
better
gonna
of the
be
two.
I'm gonna be trying to get the high pair on my own. This
Yeah.
size 13. Like
we will all be going for size 13.
Dude,
This
I
is
got
just
you.
the beginning
dude,
of the new habit.
Say less, King.
yeah. No, this is exactly what I want. And if I can wear these to RTJX, oof.
Go up
You
front, get
might
them
be able to get them
signed.
signed low key. Like
Yeah.
actually though, 'cause they would
Then I
sign
can't
it.
wear them. Like
That
No,
is
I gotta-
That's when you do what we in the business call the double up, where you buy a
Yeah.
second pair to wear.
well, that makes sense. I like that. I like that
Yep.
idea. But I do want to
You
ask you
have to
guys
go-
a question about this because you guys are simultaneously the shoe people and also not as big of fans as Run the Jewels as I am.
Well, Purvis is retired from shoes, but go on.
I
Yeah.
have retired.
Yeah, but more so than me still. Like
Yeah, fair.
what do you guys think of them? Because I think they look great, but like I'm just a sucker for anything that I think those album schemes are really well put together and really striking. So I
I
think
want
these,
to like pull them up and look at them.
Yeah, I'm pulling them back up too. I gotta say, as someone who's colorblind, they probably don't pop for me like they do for both of you.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I do. So Nike SB always does a release on 420,
Yeah.
and generally they're named after different strains.
Yeah.
So they
that
did
makes
like Dog Walker, Strawberry Cough, stuff like that. This is the first time they've done like an artist collab of some kind on 420.
sense. That makes
it's different.
That makes so much sense.
But that's also why the pink, I guess it's pink on the high pair, is shaggy. They do like the shaggy textures for their 420 collabs for obvious textural reasons.
You could shave them.
Is
Yeah.
the blue pair, is it dark blue and then light blue, or is it blue
Yeah.
and purple?
More
Let
of
me
a
look.
dark blue navy-ish.
Yeah.
Navy, and then the toe and the back are like more like
Yeah.
light. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta say I like the translucent sole on these. My favorite thing for sure is on the highs, the way they have the geometric swoosh, the way it's
Yeah.
done in the
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That is
I like that because
mwah,
it matches.
absolutely fire.
It matches the fist.
hands.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, I gotta
I-
say the highs are it.
If
mess with the
I
highs.
get these, I will. I don't know.
Ooh, these are.
Throw a Molotov cocktail at a cop car. Like, that's what
'Cause,
they
like,
would want me to do. Like,
It's true. It honestly is.
the lows, so I'll say this: the lows are nice. The lows are a very respectable shoe.
yeah.
But for someone who's not super into the artist and also not super into this color scheme, those highs go fucking hard.
Yeah. No, I like the highs way more.
I-
And I
These
also
are-
just prefer high
these
tops.
are nice.
Like
These
just
are some of the
comfortably.
best Nike SBs to release in a minute,
Okay.
in my
so
my
I need-
opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
there-
Well,
there might be a lot of people going for them, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
we'll have three.
It's
of us.
definitely going to be a raffle. It's not going to be a speed release
Yeah.
for sure.
Ugh.
Honestly, either one, I love the low ones. The
Yeah.
lows look so good. The translucent, like body.
Yeah, the lows are super clean, but
No,
the
you wear
details
that
on the
with me.
highs do it for me.
Yeah,
that's totally fair. That's totally fair.
See, I don't do hot pink. I'm sorry. It's too bright. I can't.
Yeah.
It is bright. I wouldn't wear it, but I respect the fuck out of it.
Oh, I would wear the shit out of those. I would have to construct an outfit, but like,
Yeah, dude.
Your
Hell yeah.
entire aesthetic around those shoes.
yeah.
Them bitches hot.
It is. It's hot pink.
All right, Purvis.
Yes.
Do you want to run us through what happened with Dreamville Fest?
Absolutely.
Because
I
I
know
did not watch it. I was doing something this weekend. I don't
you
remember.
missed
I know.
a
I hear it was a great show.
hell of a concert. All of it was phenomenal. Both days, every act built on top of the next. It was
Real
just
quick.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say one more thing. I was just reading about the high pair. Not only do they come with the gold Dubrays for the gun and fist, they also come with a charcoal gray pair, like another album cover.
That you
So
can
you,
replace,
so
or
you can alternate them out, and then there's and then there's like it's both like the crystallized ones and and the reason they're actually doing it on April 20th is not just the 420 dunk. Turns out that's Killer Mike's birthday.
I think it's both
Oh.
of their birthdays.
no.
I think they have the same birthday or something.
This article here specifically says Killer Mike, so I'm not sure.
I mean,
That's insane.
I know Killer Mike was born on 420.
What a birthday.
Oh no, LP was March 2nd. I thought it was both of their birthdays for some reason.
That's funny.
Yeah.
These are gonna go crazy. I don't think they're gonna even have like a ton of resale because shoe resale's just been down the way the market's been down, but it'll be something.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry. Back to Dreamville Fest.
Back to Dreamville.
But no, yeah, it was all streamed on Amazon, which was actually really dope. And they streamed everything. It was perfectly lined up.
Amazon does that a lot.
Oh yeah.
No.
They've done a couple of other acts very successfully. The beautiful part about this festival and kind of the negative thing about like Lala, there's not too much going on. You can actually see everyone. It's all compacted into like one or two genres. Like it's gonna go on. So I think it was super beneficial that you can see everyone. They closed out the first night with Usher, which was a phenomenal show.
I believe that.
Like R&B kings, he would be someone of his generation that would be considered an R&B king.
100%.
So he killed it on the first night. The second night, all the acts again built on top of each other. At the end of it, you have J. Cole going through damn near all his discography, brings out all the Dreamville, having them all on the stage at once. It's just amazing to see how much he has built within that community. They had Burna Boy up there, so a very strong presence of like the African rap that's been growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And then Drake closed it out, but not only did he close it out himself, he brought out Glorilla, he brought out Lil Uzi, brought out Lil Wayne, and brought out 21 Savage.
Yeah. Huge names.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Everything about it worked perfectly. Drake came back out and closed it with his most popular song that I'm now blanking out on.
Marvin's Room?
No, sorry. J. Cole came back out at the end.
Oh, No Role Models.
Yes, Jesus, obviously. I couldn't think of the name. But yeah, the fact that it was all streamed, I was at home watching it too. It was a phenomenal show. Like, actually, though.
Was it one of those shows that was so good that, like, it was even good streaming? Like, you didn't even need to be there?
In terms of, like, modern-day concerts, this would have to go in the top 3.
Okay.
Like,
That's
in
a
terms
high bar.
of...
That's a high bar.
In terms of everything that came on, or all the people that came on, the performance itself was very well planned. It was a lot that went into it. The crowd was going crazy. The venue was safe, which is something we have to consider now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a really good. It was a really nice thing to see for the culture in general.
Yeah.
A lot of good content out of it.
I believe that. I wish I would have watched, but I don't remember what I was doing. Something else.
I saw a video of Usher on April 1st performing that Saturday. And in between songs being like, I want to bring out somebody very special.
Yeah.
Give it up for Beyonce. And then the crowd flips. And then he comes back up to the mic and just goes, April Fools.
I would have been so upset.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
But I respect it.
That shit is wild.
Quick sidebar. I went to a whole ass comedy show on April Fools. That's what I was doing on Saturday.
Okay.
You went to Stavi?
Yeah, Stavi. I saw Stravos. If you watch the YouTube video he put out with his bit about Lori Lightfoot, you can see me and Jeff in the front row.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, I was afraid that he was gonna roast us because he roasts people a lot, and luckily the guy sitting next to us was in a tracksuit, so he got all the attention.
Solid,
dude. Such a good set, but yeah, no April Fool's joke at that set. Believe it or not, weird.
The whole thing's a joke, I guess.
Life's a joke. All right, Jasper, what is this?
All right.
What is this you brought?
I'm very excited about this.
Is this hip hop related?
It is. So this is how this is going to work. I have a song that I would like both of you to listen to and react to it live. So all you have to do is this. Where you see the little YouTube button there, click it. It'll open a pop-up. Don't read, don't interact. Click it one more time. It'll open up the player in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And just listen to the song. We'll all listen to it together, and then I want your thoughts on it.
Okay, are we pressing play at the same time?
You don't have to press play at the same time. Just click it, and play it, and just let it run.
I apologize for any audio issues that we can't avoid. Okay.
All right. So you count it down or just go for it?
Go for it,
3,
and
2,
we can
1.
cut out sections, fast forward, whatever.
Yeah.
Turn it up some.
Tell the young they can never become what they aspire to. Born in a cell with no one who can inspire you.
Your highs are as never as high as those that lie to you.
Pretending that they live in the sky, lying behind your roof.
Shooting holes up at your ceiling, trying to find the proof, trying to fight the feeling, the truth.
I've shown them the comments, and that's all part of the description.
I'm not even reading anything.
That's why I just want you to click it and listen to it without reading anything.
Fight the appeal of all your lavish, just the brave who find what is real and call it as it is.
And use a mind wheel to escape the laws of averages.
To be rich and broke,
Could it be broke and rich? You see it all gets flipped by those who master this.
who give a whole new meaning to what your master says. Jumping over the walls on old mattresses. The
I sure hope
savage.
I'm not supposed to be like super impressed.
We are the savages.
No.
Okay.
The savage.
I'm going to stop it at a minute 20.
Savage. The savage.
So I got to the first one.
Yeah, I got through a minute 20.
All right. That's a good amount.
Yeah, no, I
So
mean,
what do we think?
I mean, the groove is real nice, but like, was that Jay-Z?
Yeah, what'd you think of it? His feature.
It was very bland and soulless.
That's because he's not on the track. This
Is
is,
it
a completely
AI?
This is a completely AI generated feature.
Yeah, because they're saying things, but they're not saying shit. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's interesting enough with the AI stuff, you can take the sound, but you can't take the
The lyrics, yeah.
Oh,
The beat,
lyrics.
the
So-
beat worked. The beat worked 100%.
Yeah, the beat was great. I
yeah,
love
the beat worked. I'll
So
say
here's
that.
the thing. The way this worked was this. This artist who I've never heard of up until today, Alta, basically wrote this song in its entirety over a year ago. Didn't record it, but then eventually decided they wanted to do a feature, and then they started playing with these AI tools, basically used a kind of closed AI system to basically feed it the lyrics after having fed it training data, being Jay-Z's music. And then with that all being done, then tweaked little things to make things rhyme correctly in terms of pronunciation. But yeah, this is basically an AI having ingested content, reading a script or reading lyrics, and then reciting them in the meter and flow of what a Jay-Z feature would sound like. Sounds more like an early one. But yeah, this is we are capable of doing this right now, and this is the worst that it's ever going to be. It's only going to continue to improve from here. So what I described this topic as is the uncanny valley is flattening, because when I listened to this for the first time, it didn't sound out of place to me. It sounded like a human, even though it wasn't necessarily good. It sounded human enough to pass the test, I guess. And we're getting to the point where it's gonna be difficult to distinguish dreams from reality with this stuff, and it's only gonna get more complex going forward. So, little food for thought. We're definitely gonna link the video in the description for everybody to listen to. But Yeah, something super cool.
To me, it just seems very. It's interesting you say that because it's like a cool parlor trick because it does sound like Jay-Z. Like it does, like on a surface sonic level.
Yes.
It is doing the magic trick.
Yeah.
But to me, this sounds like unhuman. It sounds soulless. It sounds like music. Like it doesn't.
I think that's the production on the track, to be honest, in big part, just because of the instrumentation on it as well.
And who was the other guy supposed to be?
It's this artist Alta, who's like some I don't know.
Because I was like, that sounds like an AI struggling to do JID, but I sure hope that's not what that guy's.
Nope, that was a person.
I'm sorry about that. Like,
I gotta say that. Look at the album artwork too. You see the cassette, and it says the top Alta. Yeah. Savage is featuring, and then the feature's torn off because it's not actually him.
It was interesting enough because I went back to listen to it again because when I clicked on it, it didn't show me like a preview. It just opened up YouTube. So that's
okay.
That's what mine did, and I didn't even switch open the tab, so I didn't see anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, what's the actual scary part to me is if you can get the ad-libs, because those are the things that make you human and make you visual as an artist.
See, I feel like
little stuff like that.
I feel like the ad-libs are going to be easy. The ad-libs are going to be, I feel like are going to be easy for the AI to like generate. To me, it's like, it's that depth.
That's like, I think what breaks the barrier is that it just doesn't sound like something he would write either.
Yeah.
No, of course, and that's the thing is this one guy wrote the entire thing and just made the features voice that. But what's interesting is that for people who are more so in the space, you know, if you are a ghostwriter for somebody now, and you basically are their lyrical sound. What's to stop you from basically farming out a track to the highest bidder, and they can just put it with some celebrity's voice, and boom, done.
Oh, I know what's stopping you. Basic human morals, like
that won't stop anyone though. That's the issue.
It should.
We'll see. We will see.
It should. Maybe what we could do as people in the space is we could socially ostracize people who do that. Which is how society has always worked. Yep. You know, like
cancel culture.
It's not cancel culture. I'm thinking more of like, you know, back in the hunter-gatherers days, where if like you killed like someone in the village, they just send you out into the savannah. Like, I'm thinking more like that. Like,
nice. Yeah, it's just one of those things. But it is cool. Where...
Like, was the beat bespoke or was the beat
sounded great?
The beat sounded fantastic.
That was his own creation.
Okay. Well,
good.
This guy's a good. But this guy is a decent producer, and I would like to see him work with many artists because that beat went hard.
Yeah,
I love the beat.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing, which is pretty amazing, is just like the synthesis now, right? Because like even if it's not at a professional or like at a commercial level, the doors that this opens in terms of like mashups and just like SoundCloud remixes and shit, and just like all of the different sounds that we're gonna get that we always either thought about and kind of like were interested in, but never had the chance to hear it in a way that was executed well. I think this is really going to change the way people interact with the art of making music in some really good ways and in some really bad ways, just because there's going to be tons of abuse. There's no regulation. There's going to be all kinds of challenges associated with identity theft and preservation of artist integrity and yada, yada, yada.
Because like, what is Jay-Z going to think of this?
I know. That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, because like, I think probably not good. Like,
and that's the thing. Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I'm thinking about right now, the reason that I feel like this can only go so far, obviously it's hard to contain it, and like people can abuse it as much as they want.
Yeah.
Once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. But at the end of the day, as a community, like you said, it's not necessarily a cancel culture, but like if we find a track that like doesn't actually have Jay-Z on it, and Jay-Z says, "This isn't me," the track's gonna go away. It's not gonna be successful.
And like my thing is that like, you know, Jay-Z is in like an, you know, elite level of wealthy where like literally, he could afford to like lobby Congress against this, because
I was gonna say get it off the internet because he could.
Well,
but
no,
yeah,
but
that's
like,
even more important.
But like, put yourself in the eyes of someone. Like, just take this one step further. Like, what if that feature thing just wasn't scratched off? You know, it's really a very short step, and that's my issue with AI. Is like, because I think as a tool, you know, it can be used ethically. 100%. I see it used ethically every day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so primed for abuse. It would be like if we chopped down corn with AK-47s. It's like, it's going to get the corn off the stalk, but what else can we do? Like, what is this going to affect? You know, like,
yeah. And the other question right now is just legal implications in general, because Jay-Z could go to anybody, could sue this guy and say like, hey, you know, he's misappropriating my image or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's no actual, the fact that it's new material being generated creates a blurred kind of gray area. I
don't think that's the case at all. I think
it already has, though, is what I'm saying. Is like for example in the visual art space, and the way that AI is being trained on large image sets that can happen to contain other artists' work.
Yeah.
And it's producing art that appears as though it's someone else's work. What are the legal ramifications of that? Who is responsible? Is it the individual who made the data set? Is it the person who said, make me this painting? Is it the person who, developed the tool? There's all these questions about liability and accountability right now that we just don't yet have answers to.
Yes. What I was referring to is like in the example of like keeping it really hyper-focused on this, like imitating Jay-Z.
Sure.
Like, I think that's a pretty open and shut case of fraud. If you say Jay-Z is on something and it's an AI, I think that
the artist.
Obviously, like AI data sets in the visual space stuff, that's a completely different ballpark, you know? And I have very long, very drawn out opinions on that.
Yeah.
But with this, it seems like, no, that would just be like a pretty clear cut case of fraud. Of like, you say, and the question is like, what happens when you do this to someone who's not Jay-Z? You know, what happens like if you appropriate someone who doesn't have the resources to fight back against something that could do harm to them?
Yeah, don't buy an Amazon Dot or Echo or whatever the hell they're selling now, because Amazon has the power to do exactly that. Your voice print is unique to you, and anybody can interpret it and then use it for whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I tend to wear a mask on camera, just because your identity is more than just your fingerprints and your DNA. So.
Yeah.
I get that.
But it's interesting. The world's ending.
Yeah, it's great. We have front row seats.
I always said, you know what? Fuck. Zombie apocalypse never gonna happen.
No.
Robot apocalypse, however,
it's very
almost guaranteed. Like,
as soon as they start making AI robots,
as soon as they start making,
you tell that motherfucker it lives. It's gonna start thinking it.
I hate that. Like,
that means I live. That means I have rights now, right?
Be like, turns out a lot of turns out we're really good at keeping rights from people. Like,
we could do that for robots.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We did it for people of different skin color for hundreds of years. We could do it to robots.
It's like you can't have rights, but for me, you can commit wrongs.
Yeah.
Impersonate Jay-Z for me real quick.
Be like, yeah, I need you to, in your Joe Rogan voice, say all these slurs. I think we're just going to shut this down.
Yep. It's time, Joe. It's over
time,
for you.
Joe. We know you said the N-word like 48 times. So bad you got roasted by Freddie Gibbs. But oh my God, Dios mío.
All right.
All right, guys, should we get to the main event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we find or come to Doggystyle?
Okay, no, I actually have. So we've been talking about wanting to do like a throwback deep dive for a while, and we had a few different ideas on which one we would do. I think like the most popular ones were All Eyes on Me, this one, and Enter Wu-Tang. And the reason why I wanted to start with this one is one, because of the cultural relic Snoop Dogg is and still is. I feel like I didn't listen to any of Snoop Dogg's music from last year, but we talk about him on the show all the time because he's so relevant, like both within directly the industry, like owning Death Row now, and also just like in the culture. He is probably the icon of hip hop, you know, or at least the living icon of hip hop. And the other thing is, I want to examine, because I've heard from many, many different people from many different places. Like, a lot of people consider this to be the best debut album in hip hop history.
It's up there for sure.
And it's that's
a big launch.
That's a big one. And you know what? My take on that is, it's a very old head opinion, but also not out of line at all. Like, because this is a very good album. And that was kind of like why I wanted to start it. We want to start reaching back into the past a little bit farther than we have, you know? And I thought this was a good place to start. So, Jasper, you're the one who actually has a lot more experience with this album than me and Purvis do.
Yeah, I'd say I listened to this album semi-regularly So my exposure to rap and hip hop in general was all throughout like middle school and then early high school. And I only really started listening to it in earnest like sophomore, junior year of high school.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was mainly introduced through a lot of stuff that was early 2000s. So Chronic 2001, pretty much all the early Eminem, early Kanye, 50 Cent, stuff like that. But then there was just so much of it that featured Snoop Dogg that I went back and I listened to the original Chronic, also 93. And then I was also learning about his discography, the Dog Father, this, and everything else from those earlier releases. And I came across this album. I listened to it a good number of times, and it was never one that was in constant rotation for me. But at the same time, it was always one where I knew it's like, there are some songs on here that I really like. It's super solid all the way through, and it doesn't have any just like issues or anything that prevents me from enjoying the experience of the album as a whole. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a constant for me for a long time, and I've grown to appreciate it. And I don't know if I love it the entire album as a whole, but it's one that I really like appreciate and have a lot of respect for, just for what it is.
I completely agree with that. Like, yeah, it's of its time for sure, but at the same time, I think this has aged incredibly well. Like,
I think the sound, that kind of like West Coast Dr.
G-funk,
Dre, has aged unbelievably well, and it's timeless to the point where you could put pretty much anybody over it.
Yeah.
Kendrick, Pop Smoke, anybody, and it sounds good. And I say those two names because I was listening to Good Kid, Mad City pretty recently, and then also Pop Smoke has that West Coast shit song that like it isn't exactly like that at all, but he's got a couple of beats that really have that like 90s West Coast like R&B sound to them. So there's like hip hop and R&B sound.
Yeah. Purvis, what about you? What were your first impressions from listening to this album? And like, what's your relationship with Snoop Dogg? Is he your uncle?
I mean, that's got to be racist. No, I'm just joking.
He calls everyone nephew. He calls everyone.
Know, I'm literally joking.
I was gonna say you're about to get sued by Nick Cannon up in here. Defamation.
Honestly, though, Snoop Dogg, as well as all the older hip hop legends, I feel like my introduction to them, being born,
is just living in the
90s.
World. Yeah,
right. I didn't really listen to it when it came out, but I did eventually get to it afterwards. And like, by the time I understand who these artists are, it's more of they transcended past their music at that point.
Yeah.
They represent an actual image of the culture. Yeah. And like Snoop Dogg within itself, the label and image of Snoop Dogg is bigger than his discography.
100%. Yeah.
So by the time you actually get to his music, it's like, all right, well, I know you from movies, I know you from TV shows and all this other personality stuff that you have gone into and been successful in doing. So in terms of like all the old heads, not even just Snoop Dogg, you can do Dr. Dre, you can do Biggie, Tupac. Like I've never had the luxury of sitting down and listening to a whole album
Yeah.
from front to back. There's of course a few standouts that I've actually been able to go to, but for the most part, you hear the hits.
Yeah. You hear
I don't know.
yeah, because when you live in the future, when you live, I think I'm the only person older than this album.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it's like, and even that, I was a year and a half when this came out. Like
Still.
almost to the day.
There you go.
Yeah. And
We can start classifying hip hop history by BT and AT instead of BC and AD, before Tupac and after Tupac.
yeah.
Yeah. Nigga,
Purvis and I
yeah.
were born AT after Tupac.
Yeah.
After Tupac. I mean, yeah, that's a good measure. But
Yeah.
yeah,
RIP.
I obviously I know Gin and Juice because I don't know anyone who doesn't.
Who doesn't know that song? Yeah.
I know who I am. I know it ain't no fun. That might be from GTA, but I just know it somehow.
Yeah.
For me, Murder Was the Case.
Murder Was
Yeah.
the Case was so
It's
good.
another good one.
You know,
So yeah.
what's interesting to me is how this reminded me a lot of artists taking center stage in my life, right? And the first comparison, there's a few comparisons I'm going to make, between this. And the first one I really want to is, oddly enough, I think this reminded me the most of like Chief Keef, right?
Oh, okay.
Because think about it this way, right? Chief Keef did not create the drill sound. Young Chop did, right? Snoop Dogg did not create the G-Funk sound. Dr. Dre did.
Mm-hmm.
However, this album, the same way, now obviously like albums and mixtapes, like the lines blur a lot, especially when you get into the digital age. But it seems like, Snoop Dogg was just this flag bearer for this sound, even, just by being the guy who's like the names on the album. He's the guy who's like lyrics you're listening to. And it reminded me a lot of Chief Keef in that regard.
It's an interesting comparison. I
Yeah.
can see it, honestly. And like you said, I feel like they just naturally become the face of it, and they just can propel it even further. I feel like what he brings to the that bubble of the culture. Snoop Dogg has this presence since like day one. It's not like something that he got after.
Well, it's something he had to. Yeah, no, that's another thing. Is that like this feels like fully crystallized Snoop Dogg.
This is him.
Yeah, another comparison I'm going to make is that it kind of reminds me of House of Balloons, The Weeknd. This is fully realized, first time at bat. He knows what the sound
Get it out
is.
the park.
Yeah, like just sonically, like knowing what the sound was, So
I didn't know this was his debut album. That changes my whole perspective. I already liked the album, but that's
this is a debut, and like he didn't have any major projects before this, as far as I know. So what were Purvis? What were some of your favorite songs on the track list? Best tracks, you think?
I don't want to do like the obvious classics that I already know.
Yeah, you could just leave out Gin and Juice.
Yeah. I love the Shiznit.
The Shiznit.
I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah, it's a good song.
So good.
Yeah.
And then another one that stood out to me was actually G's and Hustlers when it opens up with like the kid in school.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. What I enjoyed honestly the most in terms of like learning new stuff about him as an artist, there is so much depth to this album with the additional stuff that I always talk about. Because you know what I love in the albums when you hear like interludes or you hear little bits and pieces that colorize it. Just add some color to it. Just add a little pop. It might have been too much in some instances where like the radio little thing would go too long, but overall,
classic
it puts
conceit
you in the world.
Yeah, classic conceit though. And I think I would definitely think that with this being 30 years old this year, those interludes, like more so than the music even, like kind of act as like a signifier of the time, right? Because like,
yes,
I think the interludes work really, really well within like the context of the album. But while I don't think they're like problematic or bigoted, I also think like this is not a modern sensibility. This is a lot of jokes about jacking off. Like
Yeah, there's
like
Very sexual.
yeah, this is a
When
the
I-
song but the album's called Doggystyle. Like
Yes, that is true.
if I listen to an album that has come out after 2006 that has ad libs, I find it annoying. In this context, it's like it gives that throwback feeling
yeah.
in a way that I really like. And generally, if they're over a minute, it can be a lot. But I think that the way they're done here it's exactly the way Dr. Dre did them, and it's the same kind of format.
They just
You look at
flow into the tracks.
you look at stuff off of like Chronic 2001, and just like the way that they all work together, so nice, and it's very succinct compared to a lot of other things.
There was even a like pretty big red flag for me, like when I started this album.
Mhm.
And that was like, this thing has 2 different intros. That's gonna be annoying. Because
Yeah.
I just think like,
Yeah.
no, this completely works. This may be the only example I can think of where no, completely works. Like you have the bathtub intro and then you have the G-Funk intro, and I think it totally works.
hmm The bathtub intro reminded me a lot of because it's not a lot of albums that come out like that. It reminded me of Wasteland. The first song is literally like multiple layers of like an interview.
Yeah.
It's a different type of introduction. The introduction of the Forever Story is
Yeah.
very similar to that. The
It's
introduction
very
to
story based.
yeah, Man on the Moon when they're in, or not Man on the Moon.
Kid Named
Kid
Cudi.
Named Cudi when they're in the
Yeah.
movie theater. It's just
Yep.
like stuff like
Yeah.
that is like this is not a normal intro, but I accept it.
Yeah,
It's good.
definitely.
I gotta say, G-Funk intro, I think it still definitely qualifies as a song. I wouldn't call it an intro track like
Yeah.
because it's musical. It's not just like
It is musical.
an ad lib.
It is musical. It's not a sketch.
Yeah, right.
But I still think like you kind of have to choose. You're gonna start it with a sketch intro or a musical intro. I don't.
He does.
I
both.
think typically you shouldn't do both. I think this pulls it off.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why. Like, yes, G-Funk intro is a song. If I was gonna re-listen to this album a 4th time, I'll just, truth be told, the 2nd and 3rd time I just started it with G-Funk intro.
I have a question.
What's up?
Does in that case, based on those criteria, does "Hi, My Name Is" count as a second intro on the Slim Shady LP?
I was gonna say Eminem.
No,
Yeah.
because I feel like G-Funk intro, while it's musical, it's not a fully fleshed out song.
Fair.
It's the shortest song out of
It's
all of
the
them.
shortest song. It only has like 2 verses, which like might be
Yeah.
more modern, but
But weird at
this
the time.
is 3-4 verse songs all throughout.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's quite the same thing, but I do think when you point out that there's a distinction, I think that's very valid and valuable.
Mhm.
Jasper, what are you? Because you're the one who has lived with this album the longest.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite tracks from the album?
Obviously the hits. I really like the Shiznit as
Yeah.
well. I really like Doggy Dog World. It's the longest one on
Yeah.
the track on the album.
Doggy Dog World.
And then
I was shocked that was the longest one. It
Yeah.
flows really,
Does it
really
feel
well.
like it?
it doesn't
Doesn't
feel
feel
like
like
it.
it.
That's
No,
the thing
not at all.
about this sound and Snoop in general, but this sound specifically is like you could listen to this for like I don't know. You could listen to a 10-minute song
Yeah.
and it wouldn't feel like time has passed because
This
there's
is the
just
West Side Lo-Fi.
there's enough
so-
going on. There's enough going on in it, and yet it doesn't change dramatically enough to make you feel like you're keeping track of the time that's passing.
Yeah, it's complex but relaxed all at once, and it's
Yeah.
it definitely has that effect. One of my favorite songs from the album actually is one where I kind of felt the length a little bit longer, more than anything else,
Mhm.
and that was Lodi Dodi.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, but like I definitely think more so than what was the one we were just talking about? Doggy Dog World.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like you feel the length on Lodi Dodi a lot more, but overall, I think I like the song more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say-
Aside from, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna say it. This has one of the best closing tracks ever. Pump Pump is incredible.
This is a really good close.
It's a lot of energy.
It's a lot of energy, probably more energy than is on the entire album. Another comparison I'm gonna make, it reminds me a lot of Smino. It's very relaxed, very
Mhm.
like lyrical, very lyrical, but like relaxed and fun and like not super serious,
Mhm.
very kickbacky,
It's easy to digest.
very
Yeah.
very easy to digest.
I would say that aside from the hits, The Shiznit, Lodi Dodi, Murder Was the Case, and Doggy Dog World are my like go-tos on this. Aside from
Yeah.
like the standouts, like Who Am I and Gin and Juice. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Gin and Juice is just one of the best rap songs ever made.
iconic.
So good.
Iconic.
It should be in like the National Archives.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt if it is.
It probably is.
Yeah, I wouldn't have like. I don't know, but
It might be already.
Let's see.
honestly.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we talked about Master Puppets being the first metal album to be added to the National Archives, so who knows? Maybe.
That
Oh.
like blows my mind thinking
No.
about this being his introduction to like the culture.
yeah.
No, like, I'm just genuinely curious. Does he actually keep up this quality? 'Cause
You know,
it's a lot of
I've
albums.
listened to Dogfather all the way through.
Yeah.
Dogfather, I think, is creatively a step up. I think this one's maybe a little bit more fun to listen to.
So here's the thing, right? Is Snoop Dogg, in my opinion, has this problem. He has such a distinct and just immediately recognizable sound that is like so unique to him that a lot of the music that he puts out tends to fall into that and
Very
can
safe,
sound
yeah.
samey after a while. It's what I call the Juice WRLD effect, because Juice WRLD had that exact problem to an extent. He didn't have the body of work to really make it as clear, but
No.
Snoop Dogg has a lot of projects, and a lot of stuff on them tends to, at least in my opinion, haven't listened to a lot of it in a long time, but tends to kind of blur together a little bit for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely agree, Jasper. I think that's very insightful. And I also think the way albums were made and like back then doesn't help. You know, just like how long shit was, you know, and like how, you know, you decided the length of an album based on the format you were going to make it available, and then you just had to fill that like so yeah, I think that's a really valid point. But I do think like at the same time, I think he did an incredible job just like fostering this sound throughout the 90s.
Yes.
I mean,
100%.
without Snoop Dogg, you definitely don't get Tupac, you know. And granted, there's artists who came before him, you know, and
Two of America's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just want to.
It is just so wild to think that Snoop Dogg started with this.
Yes. Yeah, it is the first major release. Nothing really came before that except
No.
for like little demos and whatever.
No.
Critical reception on release. I'm just looking at it now. It got 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 from AllMusic, Chicago Sun-Times, Encyclopedia of Popular Music, Rolling Stone.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yada yada yada. Spin Alternative Record Guide gave it a 6 out of 10. And how wrong they were.
Yeah. But it's still
Where
a
are they
6
now?
out of 10. Like,
Yeah, for
which
you
is
know,
crazy.
yeah.
So, question for you two then. Is there anything on this album that maybe for you guys shows its age to the point where maybe it gets a little unenjoyable? Because I have one.
I know I mentioned it earlier that I do like adding effects or adding additional things to an album, such as skits or such as interludes. It can be too much. And it might
It's
just
very
be-
easy to abuse it. It's
Yes.
very easy for it to get overwhelming. I agree that when it's done really well, it adds a texture that you just can't get from strictly music. I don't. Personally, I think this is copacetic. I think the sketches and everything work. They're a little dated.
I do
but
like, yeah, that's the thing. I do like the sketches, but like I think because of how dated it is, that's personally one thing that stands out to me. Just because, like, it's been so many times in hip hop that I've heard like just like a sex scene in the background or like some random scene like that. It's very genetic. It's like it would literally be like AI filling a hip hop interlude, and it's like,
dude,
this is kind
yeah.
of.
I describe this. I describe this in film all the time, right? Because like, and I think I've brought it up on this show before, where it's like in film, a pivotal point in like the making of action films in terms of CG and in terms of just general effects, both practical and digital, was Saving Private Ryan, right? Where it's like that was the first time you had war basically being depicted in a way that was in any way photorealistic, like the way
Right.
people would get shot, storming the beaches at Normandy, whatever, yada yada yada.
I was
So
going
it's
to
a classic
disagree with
forest
you,
pie.
but then you brought it home.
Right. So what my whole thing with that is I remember the first time I saw Saving Private Ryan, and I saw it as like a teenager for the first time. I'd already seen a lot of other war movies that were definitely drew inspiration from it and had based themselves largely upon it in some way or another. For example, Fury, like the Brad Pitt movie, and there's like a couple others in there, but that's one that comes to mind.
Fury's very good.
Yeah. And I was super underwhelmed watching Saving Private Ryan for the first time because I felt that I had seen so much other popular media that had drawn inspiration from it and had based its image and its identity upon the foundations that were laid. And I feel like that happens here.
That's totally
With-
fair.
With like the ad libs, not ad libs, the skits, and then also the song structuring. You see like storytelling in rap, in like gangster rap and early 2000s stuff that like this is very much towards the start of that era. I wouldn't credit it with being first, but it's up there.
It's in its infancy. It's in its like gestation period where it's not.
And then you look at 100%, and you look at the strong structuring and just like the way that the number of verses there are, the way that there isn't really a bridge that's discernible, and more so you got verses, you got choruses, you got fade outs into something else, or you've got just like cuts into another sketch or something. So I think that this is the kind of thing where it laid a lot of pivotal groundwork for not just the sound, but the way popular rap and hip hop albums were structured during the next decade, that it's become kind of ubiquitous with that. And because of that, it's lost some of its identity because we associate that with being generic because that was the status quo.
Yeah, I agree. It is a very traditionalist hip hop structured, and it's certainly closer to Run DMC than Kanye West,
Yes.
Yeah. To me, I guess like when the thing to me that just aged to me the worst was just, and I know this is one of the most popular songs off the album, but like Ain't No Fun, I'm like, this is bizarre. Like this is a weird, this is an ode to running trains. And it's like, this is a weird thing to
running trains.
It's like, it's 4 minutes of this? Like,
that's
Yeah.
insane.
Am I wrong?
I mean, it's what it is.
It's literally what it is. That's insane.
Yeah. And like that was a song that had like slipped through the cracks for me. Like even last year when the Full Court Press came out, they had a song that was like titled this Ain't No Fun, and they sampled the song, and it was a big like homage. And I was like, I did not think that that's what that song was about. I thought it was about weed. Like I didn't.
But boy, were you mistaken.
Boy, were they
The homies
passing
can't have
around.
none.
Boy, were they
Yeah.
passing around something else.
Yeah.
A human being. Anyway, but really, like, one, as like, it just like seemed like dated and weird to me, but I don't think it was like problematic or like, the same way if I go back and listen to Born Sinner and I hear the F slur and I'm like, ugh. It's not that feeling. It's just like, I don't know if this aged all that well, Snoop.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
That's 1 out of 13. Like,
yeah, it feels like such a product of its time that
that's
stuff
totally.
like
I think that's
stuff like that doesn't really faze me, to be honest.
I think that's
Just because like
I think
it
that's
is.
I think
Yeah.
that's totally fair. Like it was very much a personal reaction. And like look, it's not like a bad song. It was just like I was like shocked that like
For sure.
this is what that was about. Like
Yeah, there's definitely certain genres or styles or eras in music where if I go back to it, because it's something that I've become used to, it doesn't shock me the way it would if I heard something questionable in pop in like more current music.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like when
like,
Chance says the F slur in that one
Versus
song.
it when Eminem says it. It's two very different experiences, and one you're expecting and one you are not,
Yeah.
I would say.
Okay, so
That's true.
now I would like to play a game. So what I've done is I've collected. So I decided, I suggested this because it's like known as like the best debut album of all time. Like it's a very classic opinion to have on this. So what I did is I gathered some modern first albums, and I want us like to either talk about it or
Compare
just kind of quick. I think some of these are going to be quick hits where it's like very clear which one is better. but some of them are going to be like pulling teeth.
Okay.
So I got a list. And the other thing, this is in a specific order. So do not bring up other albums, please.
All right.
Okay, so which is the better debut album? Doggystyle or The Big Day?
Oh,
Pretty
boy.
obvious.
I wonder
Pretty
what
obvious,
it could
right?
be.
Pretty obvious, right? But
That does not count.
Okay. But okay, let's
funny.
get to a more genuine
no,
one
that's
though.
real.
Let
That's
me
real,
get to a more genuine one though, because I just had to start with that one. Do you think Doggystyle is the better album or Thank Me Later, Drake?
Hold on, let me pull it up. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to Thank Me Later in probably 10 years.
I like Thank
Give
Me
me a
Later.
second.
I don't listen to it that often because I definitely go to Take Care more when I want older Drake, and Nothing Was the Same. I'm definitely thinking Doggystyle better.
Guys, I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to listen to the Drake discography again just to
no.
reconfirm my feelings on it.
You can
Oh,
quit
boy.
after if you're reading.
Yeah,
this, it's
just
too late.
stop. Like,
When it's
No.
when-
halfway.
I might have to do it. I might have to do the whole thing.
I like
And
Scorpion.
We'll see.
Personally, dude, I guess
I-
experience when it
it's-
happened.
I talk
Yeah.
a lot of shit. I got to revalidate all of that shit that I talk.
Yeah.
I might as well do it.
Look, I get that there's going to be like
'Cause it's like I was there when it
emotional
happened.
because you're there when it happens. I'm going to try. I understand that's going to be difficult. I'm going to try to ask you to be a little to just try and remove that because I think it's going to be easier with other ones.
Okay.
I think this is going to be one that's particularly hard to separate, like where you were at the time. But I also think there are going to be some that are a lot easier to do that.
Okay. For now, I'm just gonna say thank me later.
That's
but
fair.
like,
I'm
I
going
think it's
Doggystyle.
extremely close.
Cool. Okay, this one I decided to just add because I realized it was his first album during the show.
Okay.
Wiz Khalifa, Rolling Papers.
Doggystyle.
Doggystyle.
Personally,
See, I'm almost on the Drake thing where it was like
I was there.
at the time I was there. Like
Yep.
I was there. I was a Steelers fan when Black and Yellow came out. Like
It changes your perspective.
but I do think I want to go Doggystyle. And then this is going to be the last of the easy ones. Childish Gambino, Camp.
Oh, I mean, come
Easy.
on. Yeah, Doggystyle.
Okay, now getting a little harder. Schoolboy Q, Habit and Contradictions.
Okay.
Doggystyle.
Okay. Doggystyle.
Doggystyle.
That's not a hard one for me.
Personally, it's Doggystyle.
Okay. This is kind of going how I thought it would.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar, Section 80.
Kendrick Lamar. Personally, Kendrick Lamar.
I'm going Doggystyle. Look, I like Kendrick Lamar as an artist way more than Snoop Dogg,
right.
but I actually was not the biggest fan of Section 80, and it has not grown on me
Really?
as Kendrick has become like one of my favorite artists of all time.
Hold up.
I don't
ADHD?
I don't
I'm
know
not saying
enough.
I'm not saying it's
of
bad.
that
I'm
album.
just saying like
I know.
I think I'm gonna
Wait,
give it.
is Section 80 an album or is it considered a mixtape?
No, there's another one that's considered a mixtape. Section 80 is
Okay.
his first album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know it well enough. My Kendrick knowledge pretty much starts with Good Kid.
A lot of people like to retcon Good Kid as his start, but it's not.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it's not, but
It's-
it's just like I never.
It's a lot like
Delved.
how people try to be like, oh, Star Wars, George Lucas's first movie. It's like, no, it's
No.
not. It's his third.
Stop it.
Like-
Yeah.
Okay,
Get some help.
Okay.
Tyler the Creator, Goblin.
Oh fuck no,
Yeah,
no Doggy
Yeah.
style.
but here's why I thought that one was interesting though. I think Tyler, in his totality, is absolutely a more compelling artist than Snoop.
Yes,
Dogg.
of course.
Yeah.
But those we've already run this into the ground that those first 3 Tyler albums are not it.
Yeah.
At least not.
Yonkers, Radicals, She, Tron
Okay.
Cat.
No.
Sure.
Okay.
Don't bring up Troncat on this podcast.
Okay.
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out right now.
Now
I'm
this
just
one,
here so I won't get fined.
this one, I'm kind of pulling a Jasper on Section 80, where I'm not the biggest, like, most familiar with this.
hmm
But I figured you guys might be. ASAP Rocky, Long Live ASAP.
I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I might have to go ASAP on this one.
Okay.
Hold
Okay,
on,
so
hold
now-
on, hold on,
I have to
hold
hold on. Yeah, I have to look at it.
Yeah.
You going too fast, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on.
There were some I didn't even put on. I didn't put The Weeknd on because it wasn't hip hop. I didn't put Big Crit
Yeah.
on because it was very obvious.
Live,
was-
love, ASAP.
Long Live ASAP.
Long live ASAP.
Yeah, his first one in 2012.
I don't know, man. That's so tough. I don't think
This isn't a
Long
quiz.
Live.
You can do it. You can
Yeah.
say whatever. Like,
I know. I'm just thinking like I'm thinking out loud. I don't think Long Live ASAP has aged as well as Doggy Style has.
fair point.
But there's a lot of good songs on there still.
I think there's also the point that I think A$AP Rocky found his sound after that album.
That is true. That is true. I
Yeah.
think at long last is better of the two, like
Yeah.
stronger in terms of his sound.
I'm
overall.
taking Long Live ASAP. There is a lot of hits on this album.
Okay.
Personally,
Yeah,
I think there's a
I think we've given Doggy Style so many. I'll take this one
Okay.
too.
So we're getting to the last three. I think these are going to be the hardest. And I'm going to start with the easiest one because I think it's pretty obviously going to be the one that we all agree is better than Doggy Style.
And go on.
Kanye West, the College Dropout.
College Dropout.
Yeah,
instantly.
College Dropout, 100%.
Zero question.
I feel like it's very easy for me to remove my personal feelings about Kanye West and that my personal emotion from like being there when it happened and being able to
Yeah.
be like, no, College Dropout
Yes,
is like a superior album to me.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, you can't. It's pretty much undeniable. You look at the critical and the commercial reception, and just like what that album did for this, like just music in general at the time.
Yeah.
We're living in the era spawned by College Dropout today,
Yeah.
still, and it's been 20 years.
Yeah. So to me, I think that's the one where it's like easiest. Like, okay, this is the other answer.
Yeah.
The next two to me were like pulling teeth. Doggy Style or Travis Scott Rodeo.
Rodeo. I'm going Rodeo for this one.
Rodeo. I'm sorry.
Rodeo is the College
Rodeo.
Dropout of trap, in my opinion, in that way. In terms of like changing what the sound is and like what we associate and enjoy in popular music today. So for that reason, I'd have to go Rodeo.
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay. To me, it's very hard.
It's
To
rodeo,
me,
but it's tough.
it's tough.
It is tough. But you look at
for me, it's rodeo.
you look at the scale too, right? It's like, and I don't think there's a way to account for this where it's like the level of ambition of the project and what the project achieves with its runtime in terms of like who's on the album and what are they contributing and what is the sound structure like and everything else is just it's difficult to examine them in a vacuum in that way, and because of that, I think that factors into my choice where it's just like
I think that's completely valid.
yeah, it's a big project.
I would say this though, and I'm just going to put this out there. I think it's pretty obvious, not pretty obvious, but in my opinion, pretty clear that historically speaking, when we're actually talking about influence, as big of an influence as Travis has been,
yeah,
maybe not as much as this from what
Snoop
I
Dogg
can see.
is
And not
the
only Snoop
definition
Dogg,
of
but like
influence.
the entire G-Funk
Yeah.
thing that would go
Yeah.
on to bring us, Tupac
lot.
and then Eminem,
Yeah,
from like
And
all that,
Kendrick.
it's
and-
hard to evaluate just
Yeah.
like truly how influential having not lived through it.
Yeah.
I guess
Okay. Now,
yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I think that in terms of just the album itself, I think Rodeo does a little more and explores a little more with the runtime, but that's just because the difference in the sound and the influences
and because
that
he's
they had.
standing on 20 years of like development
Yeah.
in the genre. You stand
100%.
Now that's
Yeah.
not a specific thing to Travis. That is literally everyone that creates anything.
Yeah.
You stand on the shoulders of those who come before you.
Yep.
And
And Travis also
I don't think that's necessarily a bad take though.
No, and Travis also had additional production experience that Snoop Dogg didn't have to the same extent. Travis already had multiple writing credits and production credits
Yeah.
Yeah.
and was able to really hone the sound over multiple mixtapes. So
Yeah, that is like kind of the rub with like a lot of these examples I'm bringing up because
Yeah.
a lot of them had projects before and everything.
Yeah.
Could be considered their first.
But I'm just drawing it at first album. Now I have the
Yeah,
last
of
one.
course.
I feel like this one, I know at least one of us is going to be very easy, but I think this is by far the album that is most similar to Doggy Style. To me, it blows my mind like how similar these two albums are. So, is it Doggy Style or Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon?
Kid Cudi.
I was gonna say,
I have to say Kid Cudi. Like I
don't
have to
open
say,
my mouth for this.
Yeah. but like that was to me, like I got Man on the Moon vibes from this the second we hit Lodi Dodi. I was like, this feels like just capturing that moment and that progression. You know, I don't know.
I think it's Man on the Moon by like a significant margin. That's
You
just me,
do.
though.
You do.
I think he's not even close.
I would give it to Man on the Moon critically.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the emotional thing of like I was there when it happened.
Right, obviously.
Obviously there's that. But I think it's pretty close. I think it's closer than College Dropout. Like
Yes, it is. It is.
I think so too.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think so.
But yeah, there's just
That's tough though.
there's like a lot of elements to Man on the Moon that were so previously, I think, unexplored in music, in this style of music, that it's kind of stands alone.
Yeah.
In some ways.
But
Here's
yeah,
one for you. Just while we're at it, Doggystyle or The Chronic, the original, not 2001.
I can't really speak to it.
Yeah, I can't really speak to
No?
it. I was never
Really?
a big
Okay.
Chronic
I think
listener.
it'll be Chronic from the limited knowledge that I know.
Yeah, like I've heard the Chronic. I know for a fact that I've heard the Chronic.
Right.
I think I might say Doggystyle just because I like its more singular, like flashpoint of a genre kind of effect of it. But that's a hard one. The other thing is like
Yeah.
I tried to keep it like modern, like people we were around for, because I do feel like the Doggystyle is the greatest debut album of all time. I don't think that's a wild or bad take, but I think it's a very old head take. So I wanted to compare it to more modern artists.
That is true. Yeah, that's
You
fair.
know? And yeah. So what Purvis, is this a classic? This is the most boring version of this question we've ever done.
I think it's a classic.
It's so
I do think
obviously a
it's
classic. Like it's
But
just
I think it does age a lot.
it shows its age, but I think one of the things about when something is so good that it's a classic, it's allowed to show its age.
Because it's a product. It shows that it's a relic of that moment.
You know,
which is
I
incredible.
think in a lot of ways, College Dropout shows its age. I think it's a damn near perfect album, but you know, and the easiest one for me to say was a better album than Doggystyle, but I still think it shows its age. I don't think that that's something that disqualifies you from a classic. As a matter of fact, I would say it's almost evidence that you are one. Because we say it all the time, you know, the reason why like there's a tension between like us talking about music and us talking about classics is because we talk about stuff very modern. You know, we don't talk about things with a 15, 20-year lens. We tend to talk about things with a 5, 10-year lens, which is just like the reality when you're in it and living in it. That's going to be what's happened. But
recency bias.
It's grounds for recency bias. Yeah, exactly that.
I took time to like look up top debut albums.
Yeah.
And like it is considered as one of the best, but there's a lot of competition.
Are you looking
Get
at
Rich or Die
just
Trying? Just
True.
like
I mean,
Get Rich and Die Trying is another one. I didn't think of it because
The Chronic is considered, Paid in Full is considered,
Marshall
Reasonable Doubt
Mathers LP is
considered,
also up there. You know.
Illmatic, Straight Outta Compton.
Was Illmatic Nas's first?
yeah. I mean, full album, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about?
I also
Ready to
avoided.
Die.
I also avoided.
Wu-Tang.
I also avoided groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
what
know,
about?
I was
what
like-
about Chief Keef? Finally Rich,
Chief
right?
Keef.
Finally Rich. Yeah.
That was
I mean,
groundbreaking when that came.
it was groundbreaking. I think
It was groundbreaking here.
right.
I don't know. Drill went
Everywhere,
around.
but specifically here.
It was. Look, there's always going to be a geography bias when we're talking about Chief Keef or Chance the Rapper or Common or Kanye or anything like
The
that.
GOAT.
But it's worth pointing out that like the drill scene that happened in like Europe is a direct thing of what happened in Chicago.
Yeah, and
then
that blew the fuck up.
And
but
like it's its
just-
own, and like now it's its own unique sound. Like it does
Yeah.
not sound like Chicago drill. It's
No, it
its own
doesn't.
thing. And then
Yeah.
New York took it and did that again. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
so. But Chief Keef started it.
This is true.
Oh, I have another one. Probably, I don't know why I didn't think of this. Probably the greatest debut album of all time. Doggystyle or Flockavelli.
That's another good one, actually.
I don't
He
know
just
that one.
performed at Dreamville.
You don't know Flockavelli?
No,
Waka Flocka?
I never listened to him.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh, my brother in Christ.
I know the hits, but like I
We're
never
gonna
listened
get
to him.
you on Waka Flocka.
You got to go hard in the paint.
It reminds me of, again, Eric Andre. Is that a song or a band? It's a man.
Yeah.
I
I remember everyone was making fun of Waka Flocka for being. First, it's insane that people are like, "This is the degradation of hip hop," and then like you listen to like Lil Xan, and it's like,
come on,
Waka Flocka.
I gotta
hard
say,
in the paint, no hands,
no
Grove
hands.
Street Party.
Groove Street Party. It's a
I'm gonna
party. It's a
break
party.
everything.
It's a party. I've been to so many parties in Maywood and heard that.
All right, people.
National anthem.
So the ghetto party anthem.
Right, there you go.
Do we
Him
even
and Chief
like?
Keef took over.
And this is us actively workshopping the show while we're recording. Do we even give this a grade? Because like, I feel like
I would say
forced. Yeah, I feel like I'm forced to say A or A plus. Like that's really.
If we say something's
It's
a classic, then yeah,
It's an A. I mean,
Yeah,
for me,
it's
it's
an
an
A.
A for sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if when we do these throwback albums, obviously like the same way that we have recency bias because we always talk about the stuff that's new. When you talk about the stuff that's old, there's a historical selection bias. You know,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
like when people say like, oh, all the music from when I was a kid is better than the music now. It's like, no, you're just forgetting all the bad shit.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
And then, I mean, recency bias is going to affect in other ways too. I mean, we're not anywhere near the scale yet, but if at some point the podcast continues to grow and develop more of a following base, we're going to probably feel some kind of pressure to review and do deep dives on more contemporary projects that people are listening to, because that is what draws listens, that is what draws views,
Economic.
and that is
yeah.
there are considerations with that as well. Just like what is trending online and
Yeah,
what
if
can we
there's-
do to capitalize on
If
that.
the three of us want to turn this from like a fun Thursday into a side income, that's what going to be what we
Right.
have to do.
Yep.
Not even necessarily just income, but like if we want to adopt like a growth
Yeah.
focus as opposed to, in terms of just like our viewer base, as opposed to
Yeah.
just like for fun.
Yeah, which I guess is what we should be doing. It's okay. We're like 10 listens away from 1,000. So
I was gonna say, all right, Mr. Chadvertising, let's fucking do it.
I'm on the creative end. You guys do the media. Like
Fair
I
enough.
did the brand stuff. Okay. This is
Purvis does the media. I show
will
up and
do the
act as
media.
white as possible. That is my role. I'm the token
we
white
talked
guy.
about Instagram ad buys and
Yeah, true.
you know, I got us the new logo. Thank you, Rafa. Like,
Yes, we appreciate it, Rafa.
I get.
I'm the
someone
one
else.
who had to call an Argentinian. Like, oh
Get
my
our
god,
business on.
my lord.
But should we?
All
do,
right, let's just go.
recommendations?
Let's go our recommendations. We are at like an hour and a half exactly.
That's a good time.
Dude, I love a podcast length podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I fully agree. I'll start us off then. I'm going to start off with an absolute banger. Trippie Redd, Mr. Rage, featuring Playboy Cardi.
Let's
That's a good one.
go.
I
Let's
just wanna
go.
break everything. It's just absolutely.
This
blows my
constantly
mind.
comes up on my likes, and I always listen to it with that like real high volume. So good,
This is good preparation for a Yeet concert coming up.
dude. I might have to do a Yeet track for my first one right now.
Yeah. You want to go first, Jazz?
Yeah, let me pull up my Yeet things.
I'll go
Man.
next. I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
what
let
was
me.
I say? Okay, so I'm recommending probably the newest song I've ever recommended on the show. I'm going to be recommending Fly God Jr. by West Side Gun. Dude, it's just so good. So like I listened to
Jesus,
10
so
a
good.
lot when it came out, right? But it, you know, with everything going on, like it fell off a little bit and this re-popped up. And like, holy shit, I cannot believe that this guy who spent 8.5 Hitler Wears Hermes albums revitalizing boom bap can just jump on a trap beat and like be dope. It's insane. West Side Gun is a genius.
Brandon, I cannot tell you the amount of Griselda I've listened to.
It's a
since
major
last
part.
year.
It's a major part of my listening diet.
I literally looked up the biggest playlist that Spotify has on Griselda. It is 73 hours long. It is all I listen to.
Boom, 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 boom.
it's literally all I listen to.
So for you, have you gotten to the point where you can tell the rappers apart?
Yes, for the most part.
In the beginning, it was it's kind of hard to tell them all apart. Like it's like Brockhampton. Like when you first start listening to it, it's hard to know who it is, but once you get used to it, you get used to it.
Fully agree. All right, Jasper, what's your Yeet song?
Swerved it. Gotta be. Gotta be.
I like that.
It hits. It's.
What do you think he's gonna play, bro? Like
I think he's gonna do pretty much the top 10 of his most popular songs, and then a bunch of stuff off his new album. I think that's gonna be the entire show.
I'm so ready.
I haven't even listened to the new album yet. I need to do that shit. It's coming up in like a week.
I listened to the new one. It was good.
Okay,
it was very good.
It hasn't cracked.
Probably the most like absurd yet.
It hasn't cracked his top listened stuff on Spotify yet. So it wouldn't surprise me if it does, though.
So
Swerved it. Just the opening is like high volume. That shit is like chills.
That album would be a good album to go to a concert for.
Yeah,
it's like if he went on tour for that one.
For sure.
My second song then is actually going to be, and this is more recent, when J. Cole found a random beat on YouTube and decided to rap over it.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, we talked about it on the show.
Listening to Procrastination on repeat.
That's cool.
And just like, it's him just like, I don't want to say just like throwing stuff out, but he's like regurgitating the most basic J. Cole stuff, and it still sounds amazing. Yeah. Like he's barely trying, I feel like, and it's perfect.
Her name was Hope, but the P was silent.
On the weekend.
This is exactly what I mean.
Don't talk to my mother because I might get violent.
Sometimes it does feel like J. Cole was made in a lab. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah. Yep.
Early in his career, I used to joke where it was like J. Cole was made in a lab to convince white fathers that maybe this hip hop is not that bad. Like,
not that bad.
This was my J. Cole take pre 2014 Forest Hill Drive. Then I'm like, oh, this guy's one of the best. Like, well, like Born Sinner's like no, like I liked his stuff before that. It was just like that was the impression I got. Yeah. Okay,
and then Neighbors came out.
Not even a biggest fan of that album.
All right, fair enough.
My next one. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say this into the camera. Last week I gave my biggest misfire in a review ever was Scaring the Hose, not giving it an A. So I have been back into the catalog of like just trying to mostly JPEG Mafia because I have not listened to him a lot. Like I was kind of didn't know who he was really, but I was a big fan of Danny Brown. Right? It was actually funny because my roommate, he's significantly younger than me, and he was like, "Yeah, I was the exact opposite. I don't know who Danny Brown is, but I love JPEG." That's
me. I mean, yeah. I'm familiar. Another one of his that came up on my thing the other day that I really liked. What is it, like 15 something Calvert Drive?
Yeah,
that song hits. That song is good.
So, and I didn't even. And then the thing is, like, I didn't even realize he was under my nose the whole time because he was on a feature on a song from one of my favorite albums. I actually mentioned it in the episode. I'm recommending Vengeance with Denzel Curry, JPEG Mafia, and this other guy, Zilla Kami. A dark, brutal, perfect combination of talents between Denzel Curry and JPEG Mafia. They sound so different, but also exactly the same. Love it.
It's kind of surprising, like the more you actually dive into JPEG, because I knew both JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown before the actual album release. Yeah. The more you dive into like JPEG Mafia, you know who it is. You just don't know yet.
Yeah, he's Childish Gambino's Wario. That's my theory.
God damn it.
Yeah, and I'm saying this right now. If Cortana drops this year, and it is like the usual Danny Brown standard of quality, Golden Nugget front runner right there.
Wow. I respect it.
Yeah.
This man is really gonna make me listen to Danny Brown right now.
Dude,
You
I love
should
Danny
listen
Brown.
to Danny Brown. He's
You
a
should.
good artist.
We'll see.
Oh, you're closing out with a banger.
Yeah,
Respect.
you guys clearly have never fallen asleep to Adult Swim while extremely high, and it shows. Like,
No, yeah, I didn't have cable and I don't smoke.
yeah. I was talking about
That was a
Robitussin.
very,
Like,
Right, okay.
that was a very specific description.
It's like I too have seen too many cooks. I've just seen it sober.
yeah. Have you seen unedited footage of a bear?
No, I don't think so.
Bizarre. It's bizarre. Oh my god.
Jasper, close this out.
Finish this. I need to go make
Please.
dinner. Like,
One of the
Banger.
projects of like the past 5 years that came out and got like a ton of fanfare, and then nobody talked about it. It made me fucking mad.
it was the hype.
Jack Boys Out West. I said past 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a banger.
Out West,
Out West is a
absolute banger. Love this song. Love this project just in general. I remember like riding the train to work and like putting this on first thing of the morning with that soft little intro it's got before like getting into it and waking up and just like, this is nice. And all that production flex of like the past however many years of working on Astroworld shine the fuck through, and it's great.
I have a very funny story about that song specifically and this
boy.
podcast.
Okay.
So when I was in portfolio school, which was like the Fugazi Masters program I went to, I was a writer, right? So we don't have any design classes. And at the end, they had one where it was like, they launched this new one. It was like design for copywriters. And at the end of it, your final project was to make an album cover and like to do the whole thing, right? So obviously, like, that's what everyone did. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make, and I remember showing Purvis and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to make the album for the Unpaid Nobodies. And I had to come up with like a fake track list and like a fake everything.
This is actually so true.
Yeah. And I still remember the best one was Bet featuring Travis Scott.
Nice.
And one of the songs on it was Out West. And then they announced that album and I had to change it in my final.
Oh my god.
Like,
Damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah, remember when that happened?
Throwback.
Yeah.
We used to make whole track lists with album names and song names. And just...
back before we realized our destiny that Unpaid Nobodies was going to be a podcast.
It's really just a podcast.
Before you realized you couldn't make
Always-
music, so you had
yeah.
to talk shit about it.
Yeah.
All we
Same.
were working towards was just making a podcast, essentially. That's all
But
we
yeah,
need.
that's a good ender. That's a good end note for this episode.
Respect it.
All right. Purvis, are you okay?
Yeah, that's funny because I'm thinking about all the names we used to come. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway,
We had nothing to do. We were stuck in a store all day. Like,
and we didn't work.
never. Like,
Thank you, Blue Store.
It just didn't work.
Dude,
I was a
me
manager. and I
and
didn't-
Purvis are the Bernie Madoff of time theft. Like,
Oh my god.
like, which is
the amount of bullying that we did. I still have the video of us in the SDR.
play what? Remember the time there's an office in the back of the store, and for some reason we thought it'd be a good idea to play a sport in there. Guess what sport it was,
Holy
Jasper?
shit.
Foosball.
Oh my god.
It was baseball with a
Nice.
bat and everything. Like,
I still have the video of me tossing. You just fucking full swing, and the ceiling just jumps.
there was one time we went in there because we just didn't want to work, and we came up with a criminal enterprise. Like
Holy
an
shit.
organization chart. We spent an hour and a half on it, and our boss was just like,
We labeled off
Okay.
like who's gonna take the fall, who's the leader, who's our runners, who's carrying what drugs,
"Who's laundering the
It
money?
was fully written out.
Who's
of, like,
who's
gonna
transferring
do what
capital to
roles.
commodities so we can maybe make
wa-
some." Like,
Bro,
Oh my
it was
god.
perfect. We had our manager's newborn kid included in the whole fucking.
He's
He was-
gonna take the fall for us. See, it's gonna be good.
it was that and the
God.
annoying white kid who worked in mobile. Like,
Jesus Christ, that
Nice.
is hilarious.
Dude,
Anyway.
the Bernie Madoff of time theft. I'm fucking dead. I
Yeah.
just finished watching that Madoff documentary like a month ago. The new one on Netflix. It's like 4-parter.
Yeah.
So good. Oh my god.
Look,
Too real.
Look, wage theft is the most common type of theft in this country, and I actively fought against it. Like, all right. That's the show, everybody. I'm going to go eat dinner. Purvis took his headphones off. I don't know why we're still recording. Good night.
Oh, we're still recording.